For all photographers who want to get into film photography, you're going to love today's video. And if you don't know who I am, I'm Liam. I've been a photographer for over 10 years now, and I make videos here on YouTube. I've been doing it for the past couple of years. I also post all my photos on Instagram at 7th Era, so if you want to follow along there, links in the description below. So, film photography. When I first started photography about 10 years ago, I had an interest in film photography because I was doing film photography at school. I remember at the time not really knowing what to do, how to progress with my film photography. I didn't know what camera to buy or anything like that. So fast forward 7 years, I was chatting with my mate Danny, who runs the Sigma Photo Australia Instagram page, and he just gave me this camera right here, this Pentax MZ50, and I kind of looked at it, I'm like, it's a bit weird, like, I don't really know what to expect. It's very unassuming, it doesn't look like much, and it's super lightweight, and I just didn't really know what to say. So I took some photos with it, but it's mainly just been sitting on my shelf for the past couple of years collecting dust. Until recently. So today I'm going to go over a couple of reasons as to why I think this is a great camera for beginner photographers, or just for anyone who's wanting to go from digital to film, to just try out the film realm. Now the first reason I think this is such a good camera is because it has autofocus. Now, like I was saying before, if you're a beginner just trying to get into film, or if you haven't really done much photography where it's all manual, it can be overwhelming and it can create friction between your thoughts, your creative ideas, and actually being able to capture them. So a lot of vintage cameras are fully manual, which means when you're trying to focus for an image, you're usually looking down the viewfinder, just moving it back and forth, moving the focus wheel back and forth, trying to like see if the photo's in focus, and half the time you're not even sure, it's just a guess. You've spent that money on the film, you've gone out and done the shoot, and you get your photos back and half of them are out of focus. And this literally happened to me a couple months ago with my Nikon F3. Like I was shooting on 1.4, I get the whole roll back, most of them are out of focus. That's why it's super handy to have autofocus, and I've been loving it. Like when I was in Japan, I got the film photos back and I was just so surprised with just how sharp they were. Like they looked like the sharpness of my Sony. Like everything was just perfectly in focus, and it just really made the photos look that much better. So having autofocus on this camera is awesome. Now the second thing that I love about this camera is how light it is. Like it comes out to about 600 grams with the lens included. So for me, as I've been getting older and as I've had some back issues, I find I just can't carry a heavy camera bag. My back just gets sore and it just makes photography not enjoyable. So having a light camera and just being able to go outside and just bring your camera and that's it is so nice, and it just enables you to focus on the photography and be in the flow of taking photos. Plus it makes for a great just last minute camera. Like if you're going on a photography trip and your bags are full, you got all your heavy other camera equipment like your lenses and stuff, I find this was super easy to just chuck in my bag and be like, if I use it, I use it. And funnily enough, it ended up becoming one of my favorite cameras for the trip. Real quick, I'd just like to take a brief break to mention the sponsor of this video, which is no one. There's no sponsor for this video. So if you want to help support the channel, or if you want to get some cool new Lightroom presets, they're in the description below. I've got my V3 presets, which come with 25 Lightroom presets, 25 video tutorials showing you how to use the presets, and then also 25 of my raw photos for you to practice your editing with. Now, back to film photography. Now, the third thing that I love about this camera would have to be that it is bloody cheap. When I searched up the price of this camera, because my friend gave it to me, I didn't actually buy it myself, I was so surprised. I'm like, how is this camera like 150 bucks? Like, with the lens as well. Because when getting into a new hobby, it can be easy to go crazy and start buying new things for this, new lenses, new camera bodies, but I personally think that it's better to just take it one step at a time. Because the truth is, when you're a beginner, even if you went out and bought a $6,000 camera body and camera lens, you wouldn't be able to use it to that $6,000 potential. That's why the $150 price point is so worth it. Like for an expensive night out here in Melbourne, you'd easily spend 150 bucks. So if you just choose one night to just stay home one Saturday night, you can have yourself a lovely film camera. Now the last thing that I love about this camera is the lens that I've got with it here, and you can buy the lens in a package with it online. I'll leave the link in the description below. It's a 28 to 80 millimeter lens. Having the variability, especially for street photography, has been awesome. Like when I want to get wide shots capturing a scene, I can just flick it over to 28 mil and you can capture the whole environment and you can see all the stories that are happening within that one shot. Whereas sometimes with street photography especially, you want to zoom in to isolate a single subject, and you can just do that with this camera. It also can shoot macro. Like I took this photo of the corner of my diary today. For some reason I just didn't think it would work, but it nailed the focus and it's super close up. So I think that's just such a cool thing about this lens. If you want to do macro photography, you can. Now a bonus thing that I love about this camera is it's got an inbuilt flash. Like come on mate, it's got everything. What doesn't it have? So if you want to do flash photography, I personally haven't used it before, but I'm sure it will come in handy at one point. It's just really easy to use. Like, I feel like anyone can just pick this camera up and go out and get some cool film shots, which is what we really want at the end of the day, right? You want to go out, be able to get some cool film shots, get them developed, and just be like, whoa, I took all these photos. But yeah, I want to know, what is your photography goals? Like, what are you trying to achieve with your photography? Where are you trying to get to? Let me help you. Comment it down below and I'll keep it in mind for a future video idea, and I'm also going to be reading all the comments, so it'd be good to hear from you. But yeah, that's all for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and as always, don't think, just do.